As the construction on the shuttle finally finished, all of the members of the small group entered. The design of the shuttle was fairly minimalist in appearance, but made sure to demonstrate its outward armament and weaponry complement, letting people know that shuttle or not, it wasn't an easy target, at least not without a full-fledged ship. Capable of light speed 3, the vessel would take a little while to get them to the planet's surface, but a few hours of travel never hurt anyone, as Mika took her place at the captain's seat, and Mia sat beside her in the pilot seat. You know, actually, Captain, it might be better if you sit in the back. What? Mika replied, looking over to Mia a little bit curiously. Yeah, I'm sorry, but you're distracting. I mean, seriously, look at you, she said, glancing over to Mika. If that outfit you were wearing had any more sex appeal, I'd have to start getting undressed. I may be able to fly one of these things, but it would probably be better if I wasn't distracted. Okay, whatever you say, Mia, Mika said, getting out of the front chair and heading towards the back, telling one of the other crew members to take her place. As she sat down, and the hatch to the shuttle closed, and the ship began its takeoff, exiting exovol out into the nebula, and heading towards the exit to open space. Obadal began signaling towards Mika. Psst. Captain, Obadal whispered, leaning over towards where Mika was sitting. Yeah? What's the deal? Why are you whispering? Mika said, trying to keep her voice down as much as she could, not knowing what exactly Obadal was trying to be secretive about. Hey, Captain, exactly how much do you know about this Mia? I know she's one of your primary engineers, right? But what's her deal? She doesn't seem scared of this at all. Most engineers probably wouldn't be so gung-ho about a mission like this. Where does she even come from? Well, she has a long and storied backstory. Lots of character building, you might say. But suffice it to say, I trust her, if that's what you're asking. I don't think she's got any ulterior motives. Well, at least not any that have to do with double-crossing us or anything like that. And besides, we need people with stones for missions like this. I thought you'd understand that, Mia said, looking curiously at Obadal. Yes, of course I know that. Just one more question. Tell me, is she single? Obadal asked, scratching the back of his neck a little bit as he did, almost nervously. Mika couldn't help but giggle a bit. Well, Obadal, I'm not sure you're her type. Well, then again, Mika said, beginning to think to herself, I'm not really sure if she has a type. I suppose I'm just going off the fact that she's attracted to me, but I suppose that doesn't mean that she's not attracted to men as well. I don't want to be too close-minded and start putting labels on her. What? She's attracted to you? Well, if the story she told me about a fantasy involving a large amount of jelly has any say over the matter, then I'd say yeah. So, you're interested? I mean, I thought you were questioning her origins and whether we could trust her. Not whether you could date her or not, Mika said, a sly grin starting to grow on her face. Hey, I like dangerous women. Sue me, Obadal replied. As a matter of fact, she kind of reminds me of my ex. Or should I say, my first wife. She pulled a gun on me the first time I met her. It was a massive bar fight. And she was on one side of it and I was on the other. And right in the middle of everyone kicking each other's asses, she pulled a gun, I knocked it out of her hands, and we started to scuffle. 13 countered attacks later, we couldn't stop staring at each other. And that's how we fell in love. Beautiful story, isn't it? Yeah, Obadal, Mika replied, feeling a bit taken back. That was his first wife and his love story. They were trying to kill each other. I suppose it does make some things make sense, Mika replied. But, Obadal, get your head in the game. Remember, we have a mission? Yes, of course, Captain, Obadal replied, trying to straighten up in his seat. But it was at that point that Mika noticed that his eye line kept floating over to Mia. Well, isn't this going to be interesting? She said, as they finally began to exit the nebula, the cloud of swirling gases behind them, as they burst out into open space. We are now clear of the nebula gases. They'll be initiating lightspeed travel in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mia counted down before initiating lightspeed travel. And with a burst of blue light, the small shuttle pod bolted into space, with their destination in the distance. As they made their way to the planet, everyone on board the shuttle made their last-minute adjustments. The new clothes that they put on were brand new, but made to look otherwise. Mixtures of fabric and rough leather. Obadal, Mia, and Mika seemed to be fairly comfortable in theirs. The two other crew members seemed to be having some difficulty, however, not being used to wearing clothing of this nature. Okay, does everyone remember their training? You two did the best when it came to the new hand-to-hand combat training, so I expect you to know how to wield those weapons. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The two security officers replied to Obadal, placing their hands on the knives strapped to their legs. Okay, Captain, as far as firearms go, and weaponry in general, we can't go in with any heavy armament. It might look too suspicious. But everyone in the group's going to be outfitted with a plasma pistol for their sidearm as well as a knife. You guys might not be experienced in using them, but my men are. Myself, exceptionally so. Okay, I get that. But what the hell is that thing on your back? Mika said, pointing to the large weapon that Obadal seemed to be carrying with him. Oh, you've never seen one of these? No, Mika replied. So, what the hell is it? It's a Rohasan weapon, known as a Daldrif, a specialty of my people. Each warrior is given their own once they pass out of adolescence, and each one is given monk status based on your amount of service, the number of lives you've taken using it, and even military rank on the home world. My people often travel home just to have the weapon affixed with all their new commendations based on their performance. It can only be done by the high priests on my world. If you knew how to read any of this, you'd probably be horrified by what you read. In all honesty, the weapons we carry on our backs are just memorials to all those we've killed. The more decorations you see, the more likely it is that the person you're staring down is gonna kill you if you actually try to fight them. You can know the level of a fighter by the weapon they carry on their back. And it's a simple practice that my people have been carrying on for thousands of years, actually. Wow, not gonna lie, Obadal. That is, well, a little bit terrifying. but at the same time, fucking cool, Mika said, smiling a bit.